Bonjour and hello. Welcome to this online global conference, How Can We Be Spiritually Creative? I'm LaurenRose EveningSong, your hostess in Paris, France. During this online conference, we will discuss the creative process from a uniquely spiritual point of view. Among the guest speakers that I have chosen are authors and writers, visual artists, singers and musicians, shamans, even astrologers, and creativity coaches. Together from around the globe, we will endeavor to explore the question, how can we be spiritually creative? So, pleased to begin. Bienvenue and welcome, Starcodes Academy, with Alma and Hrabbý. Alma and Hrabbý founded Starcodes Academy in early 2020. Its creation was a divine calling after Hrabbý began channeling light codes from ancient Atlantis. Alma and Hrabbý connected to light beings to get further information on the light codes. And then Archangel Metatron showed up with a great team that now works with them. The light beings asked them to trust the process ahead, to start working with the light codes to transform their lives after both had experienced severe life exhaustion. This took them on a journey of a lifetime, and today they live their purpose by supporting people in transforming their lives. Starcodes Academy offers various courses, workshops, angelic Reiki training, meditations, and channeled light codes, such as personal light codes and codes for different energy work. All their work is aimed to empower people to transform their existence through honest reflection, healing, creativity, and connection. Alma and Hrabbý live in Iceland, but travel Europe often. To find out more about their work, you can find them on their website, starcodesacademy.com, and on social media. The topic for today is trusting the process. Where can letting go really take us? So, tell me, what does it mean to be creative?
Well, that's a big question.
Yeah.
And I think we generally have a misconception about creativity because, I mean, the greatest piece of art that we create is our life. And we are creating every day. We create circumstances, we create whatever comes into our lives. And so it's, in our opinion, it's not really possible to be alive and not creative.
Yeah. We create so many things throughout the day.
Mhm.
And with every decision we make, we are creating something. And we're always making decisions. We make thousands and thousands of decisions each and every day. We create, for me, creation is making food or gardening or, you know, how I place things in my home, how I dress, how I, style my hair. It's all part of the creation. And it also is about letting us be who we are. So that is reflected in how we look, how we have the things around us, and so on and so forth. But then we can, of course, take creation into different direction.
And I think many of us have thought that the only creative people are artists.
Mhm.
They're the only ones that can create. But I think through our personal development and how our life changed, we soon figured out that being creative and creation is so much bigger than that.
For us, channeling is a big form of creation. And that was the start of Starcodes Academy.
Yeah. And you can channel in so many different forms. You can channel through tones, through your voice, through writing, through painting, drawing. There's all kinds of channeling we can do. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, so it's not just for painters or sculptors or musicians even though they might overlap music and writing and or painting and sculpting or other visual arts. So I feel that being creative is an ongoing process that every human being is involved in on a daily basis.
Yes, and it is a superpower that many of us don't realize that we have. It's something that we can tap into and we can use consciously to change our lives. When we connect to our creativity and the creative power that we have to manifest things into our life.
It's also a lot about mindset.
Yeah.
And how we think about creativity, and that we allow ourselves to express ourselves in different ways and through different mediums.
Yeah.
So it's something that is a part of, starting with the mindset, and then we create from there.
Yeah, I am an artist as well, so I'm a musician as well, and it took me because being an artist, you are always focused on creating something that somebody will like and buy or listen to, or because it's really hard as an artist to let go of the end product and to really be in a flow and be in connection with your true self. Because I think we always fall into or not always, but often fall into the trap of trying to create something that is commercialized. We can commercialize and benefit and sell from, sell our products. And it took me quite a long time to detach my ego from my creations and to hang my value, my own value on what I was creating. So it didn't really, if people didn't like what I was creating, it didn't mean that I was a worse person or that it wasn't devaluing me as a person. And I just did my first solo album last year, and as a singer, and just letting go of the end product that I had to shift my mindset. So I was thinking, okay, this is just, I have to look at this as a creative outlet. I can't think of it as a product that I'm selling. It's me and my creativity manifesting in music. And then I had to let go. And it was a struggle. So my artistic self was a bit more, what we say, not crumbled, but it was just a bit smaller than my spiritual self at the time. But now I managed to combine the two, I think, quite nicely.
Maybe humbled, not crumbled.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
humbled.
humbled and crumbled, yeah.
Because humbled is the opposite of being egotistical or egoic. Yeah. Okay, so let's take it in the broad sense. Why is creativity so important to the world right now?
It's a small question. Because the short answer is because we need to create a new world. We know we are not sustainable as we are on Mother Earth. We need to think about things in a different way. And that's why it's so important for us to go within and connect with ourselves so that we can change ourselves from within, because we don't change the world in any way if we don't start with ourselves. We need to change from here. And that's what we are working with in Starcodes Academy. We work from within. We look at ourselves, how we can change what we are doing, how we approach things. And by looking within and opening up this creativity that is within us all, then we can start looking at things differently. We can come up with new solutions. And we look at our lives in different ways. We change our priorities, and all of these things combined, they end up with, changing the world, because that's what we need to do.
Yeah. And we also need to realize that we are a part of society. We won't change anything if we detach ourselves from the society, because we are the society. And the change needs to come from within. And if we constantly demand that everything changes, but we don't change, that's not going to help us at all.
And it's also a part of that many are feeling or sensing more. We are becoming, we talk a lot about empaths, we sense feelings, we know more about everything that's going on in the world without reading about it, without diving into it. And this is a part of our gift, I would say. We are becoming more open to energies, which means also open to spirit and light beings and all of that. And with that connection, we also feel and sense that we have to make changes. And at the same time, we can feel a stronger connection with people, so that, you know, there are so many ideas floating around in the collective consciousness. So if you sense something and you start creating it, it might as well be that someone else is doing something similar, and that's fine. And that's also something that we need to remember, because we are all connected in some ways. And this same thing happens when we are channeling. I mean, we can see something similar from someone else in a few days. And that's good, because we need to remember when we are creating something that we all have different energies and there are different people who connect with us.
And we also have to realize, like I said before, that we have a superpower. Creativity is a superpower. And we all have that within us. And that means that we can create something wonderful, but it also means that we can create something terrible. Or we can aid the difficult things. So if we constantly focus on what's wrong with the world and everything, all the terrible things that are happening, and we are sending fear and anger into the situation, we are only helping that situation grow. But if we would spend the energy not on these difficult feelings, but we would rather shift our focus into what would we like this to manifest into? What is the best possible solution we could see for the world? And we focus on that, and we keep that very clear in our mind that this is what we want. Then we will have more energy shifting that way and less energy shifting into on the other side of the scale that we don't want to, we don't want that to grow. We want positive things to grow.
Yeah, and the more we work from the heart, and we talk from the heart, and we do things from the heart, then that spreads out to other people. Mm-hmm. And I think it's good to have in mind all the time that we are so connected to others. Our energy is much bigger than just the physical body, so that we have an impact on the world around us. And that's how we can make positive changes, just by talking differently in a more positive way. And by, thinking about our energy and what we are sending out into the world. And one part of, being creative is listening to this, to the intuition, to really notice when we have that niggle, or you get this feeling and you need to listen to it. And often we ignore it until we maybe hit the wall or something happens, and we are forced to listen. And we want to support people in, noticing this and start doing it before they really hit the wall like we did. Mm-hmm.
Thank you for that. You covered the whole world, the whole ground of the world. So you talked about hitting the wall. Is this where your creative journey brought you in the beginning to make you wake up? Did you have awakening experiences? Tell me how that happened.
We were both quite busy in our on our old life, we could say. We both come from the corporate world, and there was a lot of emphasis when we were growing up on having a good education, having a good work ethic, getting a job that give us good money. It's just like it's everywhere the same, you know. And we weren't really taught to listen to our intuition and listen to our heart and our inner voice. And that, of course, brought us into places and roads that we wouldn't have gone into if we had maybe learned to listen to the heart a little bit earlier.
Yeah. We basically didn't listen to our intuition. We were working with spirit. I mean, we've been on this spiritual path for 20 years now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a long time, but we were trained in basically helping others. We were learning, we were meditating, but it was never focused fully within. And it was focused on, you know, healing, on mediumship, on helping others, instead of focusing within and what we can do for ourselves. And that's why our mantra now is you will never be a better practitioner than the work you put into yourself. Mm-hmm. And that's where we work from today, so that our energy can be sustainable. We need to think about that, because we never will go back to the same energy level we had before. We need to think things differently.
That was not a normal energy level. That was 200% energy. We don't want that. But about awakening, I would say we did, yes. Because during COVID, I think it was the first lockdown, I sat down with my iPad and I started drawing. And I didn't know what I was drawing. I was just all kinds of weird, both something that looks like codes and also creatures and just all kinds of things. And I just sat for 3 months. It was just like I was plugged into a socket, and I sat for 3 months and I drew for 3 months. And every now and then I would send Alma a screenshot of what I was doing, and she was like, oh. And when I think I had around 100 or more than 100 pictures, we printed them out, and we were always, like Alma said, we were trying to look for the answers outside ourselves. So we went to other people and we said, what do you think this is? And of course, people had all kinds of opinions, but at the end, we've just felt, okay, we are supposed to get our own guidance. And that's when we sat down and we met Archangel Metatron for the first time, at least in connection with this. Yeah. And I would say that was our awakening. When he came to us and he said, within these pictures that you've been drawing, there are 12 light codes from Atlantis, ancient Atlantis, and these light codes have been in all in the chakras of all humans since Atlantic fell, but they were turned off when Atlantis fell or collapsed. And now, because we are you as humanity are going into the 5th dimension and into the new era, you have to ignite these light codes again. And igniting them means that you have to work through all the obstacles that are blocking your chakras. And that's the journey we went on. Mm. So we sat down and we channeled material and information from Metatron and from other light beings that were in the team as well. We did this, we met every week.
Yeah, for 12 weeks.
For 12 weeks, and we went through all the chakras and we channeled materials. And we went through the ignition process ourselves, and we kept the diary of everything that was happening in our lives. And then we did it again.
Yeah, when we were at the end, we knew we needed to go again.
Yeah, and we are project managers. So we were always asking, and what are we supposed to do with this? And what are we supposed to do with this? And Metatron said, it's not time for you to know now. You just have to go through the process. Mm-hmm. And that was like the biggest trust exercise I think we both had, because we were both, of course, not working. We were going through rehabilitation, or the system had kind of given up on us by then.
Yep. The public system we have here to rehabilitate people after a burnout, then they basically pushed us out and said, you need more time. So then after these 2 cycles, we went the third time. We ended up working for 9 months every week to go through this process. And at the end of the 9 months, we had a course that is called Your Personal Transformation. So when we collected all the material for each of the chakra with channeled content, with attunements, with meditations, with everything, we had a full 9-month course that the light beings gave to us and asked us to lead other people through the same. And we had transformed our life completely at the end of these 9 months. And this was a huge trust exercise. It was something that we never even considered, because we had always thought about going back to the corporate world, even though I knew I shouldn't. I always knew my path was the spiritual path. It just wasn't practical to leave the corporate world, being, a single mother and all. But it was something I had to do. It was definitely a calling, and we knew this was the path we should follow.
Yeah. So we were basically in creative mode, spiritual creative mode for 9 months. And that was, and it was not always easy, going through the challenges and working through all the obstacles within ourselves and taking responsibility for our lives and our choices in life, and going through all the grief and all the feelings that when you look back and you see where you have turned off the road, and where you took decisions that weren't, maybe in hindsight, weren't good for you, but you have to understand that you did your best at the time. So it was not always an easy process, but it was something that completely transformed our lives and helped us start creating the life that we want to live.
And I think for me, because I never thought I was creative, then when I started channeling, for example, the attunements and all the meditations, and today I can take you on amazing journeys that my imagination could never create by itself. But when I was connecting with spirit and they were taking me on all these journeys, and I was writing this, and I can invite others to join, and that's something for me that is amazing. And then I realized, yes, I am creative in so many ways.
This is amazing. So, in fact, you had different levels that you went through on awakening and developing and becoming more and more connected. So it's not just like, bam, one single time. You've had different, and you helped each other. You worked in tandem, which is really nice to have a partner to help out. But it must have been hard still, because sometimes you may not have agreed, and you were working closely together.
Quite.
Lockdown.
We have been friends now for 37 years.
Yeah.
So this is the longest long-term relationship we have both had. So we are quite in sync, but of course we don't always agree, but we love each other enough to work through that,
And I think the biggest thing going through this together was that we can tell each other, like, no, this doesn't make it. Now you need to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Now you need to reconsider. And yeah, you might be going down the wrong path.
It's really good to have somebody that can put the mirror up to your face and say, okay, just look in the mirror. You're not something is wrong now. You should reconsider.
That is really precious, to be able to build that trust with another person. And that is something that we always try to establish with the people we work through, especially, through longer programs like the 9 months. There is so much trust within the group, and also with the people, the team that works with us today. It's so important.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you another question and keep you talking.
Yes.
Why does spirituality matter in creativity? It makes you ask this question also, well, is creativity a spiritual or an intellectual or a physical matter? What is it? So I give you a lot to work with.
Yeah, well, I think creativity is often connected with imagination. So you say that if you have a good imagination, then you are very creative. But what is imagination? Where does imagination come from? And I think because we get a lot of people through our courses that say, well, I'm not sure if I'm experiencing or if I'm imagining. And in one of when we were channeling once, Metatron told us, or he said, well, the link between channeling or your intuition and your imagination is that your imagination is the screen that your intuition plays its images on. So your imagination is directly connected to spirit.
And this is something that I have felt deeply, when I have been channeling things, that the more connected I am with spirit, the more vivid the imagination is. It's not the same when I'm just in daily life, even though spirituality is a part of my daily life, but with this connection, then it's completely different. And the best way for me to connect to the intuition and to listen is to practice spirituality. For example, like quiet our mind, that meditation help us quiet the mind so that we can more easily hear the intuition, that we can more easily listen to our heart and hear ourselves, basically, because we are so much more than the mind and the physical body. And we need to...
Go ahead.
No, we need to be able to listen to ourselves, and we can't do that if there is constant chatter in our head.
So you have established a very strong meditation practice. Can you talk a little bit about that, both of you, for each of you, what it's like?
Yes, I think, meditation was a really big part of my process or my spiritual path ever since I started. But like Alma said, maybe first they were a bit focused outside of myself. Although, I met my spirit guides through meditations, and other light beings that I've been working with, I meet through meditations. But as we evolve spiritually and as we start growing these connections and establishing them and revisiting them again and again, they become, I think, a bigger part of our daily life. So we don't always have to sit down and meditate to be able to connect and listen. So I think what I feel a lot in my life now is that I think a little bit less, I would say I meditate, like sit down and meditate, not as often as I did before, but I am very much connected. So meditation and I think like reflection, meditation, and listening has just become a part of our daily lives. And that is, for me, what it means to be in the fifth dimension. To go into fifth dimension, our journey there means that we have to have this connection, and we don't have to put ourselves in we don't have to dress in a certain way or light the same candle all the time and have the perfect incense. It's just about being able to connect and listen in your daily life. And I feel that I am there now, but that doesn't mean that I never meditate. I do that as well. And I do that mostly to get this absolute calm that I need. And if somebody new is trying to connect with me or speak to me, then I do that through meditation.
Yeah, I think I agree. And it's about this conscious connection with spirit every day, all the time. And it doesn't mean that we are channeling things all the time. It's just we are connected with ourselves, with our soul, with our higher self. And because I have to admit, I can be very disciplined in many ways, but being able to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and meditate is just not my thing. But I love meditating, and it's a necessary part of my life. But it doesn't mean that I have to sit down 5 days a week and meditate. But I can sense it in daily life if I don't meditate enough. Because it impacts me in many different ways.
And they also create the energy that we walk in every day, because every morning we ground ourselves, we clear our energy field, and we protect ourselves, or we expand our own energy so that we are safe and secure during the day. And that is just one part of how you can create your day energetically, or you can affect the energy of your day going forward if you take responsibility for yourself and your own energy.
I connect with our guardian angel, to our spirit guides, to our dragons, unicorns, whatever beings we like working with. Because it is such an important part to be able to quiet the mind. And anytime, and it's also about thoughts, because if I start having repetitive thoughts, for example, or having conversations in my mind, like used to happen a lot before. I had the whole conversations in my mind about something that probably would never happen, or repetitive thoughts that come over and over again, and this is something that is probably never going to happen either. Then this has all calmed down with the meditation practice, with the work that we have gone through. And because now I have a different outlet for the creativity. I actually allow myself to be creative, and connecting with spirit, and being, and allowing my soul to guide me, allowing my heart to guide me through life. So there doesn't have to be anything else filling the space.
Thank you. That was beautiful. I have to agree with both of you on different points. Hrabbý, I also don't sit down every day at the same time and meditate. Usually when I meditate with cards. That helps me focus. At my altar with a candle and the perfect incense, whatever the perfect incense is for that day. But I have noticed over the years, since my initial spiritual awakening, I had a very strong one. Though I was always interested in spiritual topics, spirituality, I had to reach a point of awakening on a conscious level, expansion of consciousness, actually. But what I notice is also that I don't have to always go and sit, that I can connect with spirit in life, on a daily basis, in other activities. And it's not to say that it's not important. I agree with you there too. It is important to still the mind and to find quietness and focus. And I do that often by having soft music play in the background, because that works for me. Sometimes I remember that silence can be helpful too. So I'm going to ask another question.
Can I add just one thing that we have experienced with our people, and because we have a very active mind? It's also that walking meditations are an amazing tool to let go, because while we're walking, there isn't anything, and we're meditating. So you can see me walking around my neighborhood, and I will not say hello to anyone because I'm just deep in a meditation, even though I'm moving my body. And it helps me sometimes when I need to release the energy in the body at the same time.
It's often that can happen often in our courses when we are doing deep meditation, because we work a lot through guided meditations, that when people are doing very deep and difficult work, then they are pulled out, so they just completely miss what happened in the meditation. And this happens again and again and again. And then we say, okay, do the meditation, but go out and walk. So you are aware, but you are connected. And that offers a completely different experience and often helps people more because, as Alma said, you are moving your body, you're moving your energy, and you're helping things along.
I read a book, or most of a book, by Julia Cameron. She's the author of The Artist Way, but she also did a book on walking. It's a similar idea of a walking meditation. And she would say, I like this, that she gets her marching orders, which is to say, she gets her orders from spirit when she's out doing the walking. So it comes to mind, a bit of humor. So, what about in the process of letting go? How do you let go of the outcome? Because we are taught in our society, in Western society, that productivity and the outcome are highly important and that the goal is what to reach for and never mind anything else. So, once again, how do you let go of the outcome when creating?
It's an interesting thing to actually go through. When we went through that, as we said earlier, when we created our 9-month course, because we needed to go through this journey ourselves. But the thing is that Spirit is guiding us to change a lot of things so that we can change the way we live here on Earth. And that's why we need to listen. And it's not, if we consider this collective consciousness and these connections that we have with other people, then why should others not connect with what you are creating? Because we are also connected. And if we just think about, we sometimes hear a sentence, or there is a song that comes on and you catch a word or a sentence, you see a photo or painting, and you get a different point of view. Or something becomes clear for you. It's just we trigger something by what we create, and we trigger something for other people. And if we can trigger things in a positive way, or that lead in the end to positive things, then why shouldn't we do it? Because we help ourselves the most by creating whatever our heart is calling for. Because that's what we need. And if we create something that we need and we can use, then it's much easier for others to connect with it, because it's something personal.
I think it's also about shifting how you evaluate your self-worth, because we are trained to value our self-worth. It's directly connected to what we do and what we produce, but it's not directly connected to who we are. So creativity and creating things should be more about expressing who we are, but not about what we can do. I can do a lot of things. I'm very good at a lot of things, but it doesn't mean that all of the things I'm good at are expressing who I am. I can be good at accounting, but I find it tremendously boring. You can be good at a lot of things, but it doesn't mean that that is your path if that's not your passion. So you have to let go of the outcome in a way to trust the process. And I think if you don't trust yourself, you don't trust the process. If you don't trust the world, you don't trust the process. So you always have to start clearing out your own blockages, the things that are keeping you back, to be able to find where your worth lies, and then let go of the outcome of what you are creating.
And this clearing is often a part of the creation. I mean, it's part of the creative process and working through things, and that's an important part of the creative process.
Yeah. And I shifted because I was creating music for the last 2 years, and now I always take one day a week where I'm creating, and now I'm painting, and it's an interesting process, because I usually paint pictures that if you ask me, what is it? I have no idea. I have no idea what I'm doing or what I'm painting. I'm just, because I've trained myself now to let go of the process. It's just, I let go of the outcome. I trust the process, and I have no idea what this is. And it doesn't matter. It's just my inner self expressing what's coming to me.
The same I feel when I'm writing or doing something, when I connect with my heart, when I'm connecting with whatever needs to come out, whatever I might be processing something and I might write it, and in the end, I will just write it for myself, or it might end up somewhere published, and that might help someone else, and then that's great. And if it helps just one person, then I feel great. And it might encourage others to do the same.
Yeah, and I think just like a traditional artist, I mean, when I look back at my solo album, for example, I can see that every single song is helping me process an event, or it doesn't necessarily always have to be trauma or traumatic, but every single song is an outlet for me to express what I had inside and needed to get out. And when I put it out there, I don't need to be constantly, it doesn't play on a loop in my head anymore, because I've just managed to put it out there and get it away. And I think the same thing is happening with my paintings, because I maybe for 3 hours, I listen to the same song while I'm painting, because it brings out some emotion in me or something that I feel that needs to get out there. And then I look at the painting and my brain thinks, how is this expressing? I don't know what you're doing, but just keep on going. When the brain takes over for a minute and tries to analyze,
Yeah, and I think we can go deeper with our creation when we allow ourselves to be in the flow, and we're not trying to control the outcome. It goes on a deeper level.
And it's the same with when I'm channeling the light codes, the personal light codes. That is a process that I absolutely have to trust in, because they don't come from me. So I need to be connected. I need to be. That's I think the perfect combination of creativity and spirit. Is that you have to be connected to receive what's coming through you when you're drawing the light codes, and I think that sometimes makes me, I think that's the only time now when I feel a little bit insecure still. When I'm like, oh, am I done? Am I not done? Am I done? Am I not done? But then I just have to
let go of the outcome.
Let God. Yeah.
Let go of the outcome. Yeah, let God.
Yeah.
So can you talk more about the codes? What are light codes, by the way? Those who
they're
might be familiar with the term.
Well, light codes are just a part of light language. There's a lot of talk now about light language that has been channeled both by just movements of hands, by voice, by symbols, and by drawn codes. And they are very, very, there are various light codes for various purposes. And there are a lot of people channeling light codes, and they all have their specific purpose. And the light codes that I am channeling, for example, if we talk about the personal light codes, because when we as a human entity meet a light being, the light being does not sense our physical body. It sees and senses our light, what our light looks like. And that is basically our light code.
And all the connections. It also has all the connection points we have with the different energies.
So it's kind of like our own energy grid, or our energy. It's a Merkaba. It's our energy grid, where we have energy points or connection points to all the available energy in the universe. Some of them are active, some of them are not active. And what we do through our courses is activate some of these energy points consciously through initiations. Some of them you can activate yourself, and they do activate when we have like awakenings or aha moments, or we connect, we feel that something is changing energetically, then we are connecting and activating a part of our light code that hasn't been active.
And what we have felt, and the people who go through our courses, is that because we have the personal light code, it has certain energy in the beginning and it evolves, especially as we go through the chakras and we ignite the light codes in the different chakras. So we are now working with 17 chakras, so 12 for our 9-month program, your personal transformation, and then living your purpose is 5 months. Then we have 5 additional ones. So then our personal light code becomes stronger and you can feel more connections and deeper connections. So it evolves over time. The more we work with spirit, the more we work on enhancing our connections, both with Mother Earth and with the universe.
And then I've channeled specific light codes for working with systems like the healthcare system, the educational system. And those light codes, when we use them, they help us get the best possible outcome when it comes to changing our systems. So we have people that have, for example, the healthcare system light code as a screensaver on their work computer, and they work within the system. We have brought the religious code to churches and places where we know people have had traumatic experiences with religion, to break up the old patterns and help us bring in all the new wonderful things of the new world that we want to establish. And then we have light codes of different spiritual practices. For example, we have one light code for angelic Reiki, which just holds the energy of angelic Reiki. And every spiritual practice has its own light code that can be channeled. So I just do that on demand. If people want to have a light code for their practice, then I do that.
The light codes are a part of, changing these obsolete systems we have, and we need every help, every type of help we can get into that.
Yeah, and Metatron told us through one of the channelings, he said that the light codes are like if we are in a maze and we come to a door that's locked, we can look at the light code as the key to the lock. So the light codes are opening up portals and directions for us that maybe weren't available before or that we didn't see before. So they are like these keys to the puzzles that we are trying to put together in our lives, I would say. And they are everywhere. I mean, light beings there are light codes, because we used to be much more connected to nature than we are now. And now light beings are using light codes like in a city landscape. So just the way lights are left on in buildings, for example, are codes that are speaking to our consciousness.
So light codes are energy.
Yes.
Okay. And it's encoded in a certain form so that we can work with it.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Because yes, I hear a lot of discussion about light codes, but I wanted to understand it in its simplest terms so that it's accessible for people to understand.
Mm-hmm.
I was given light language when I belonged to a spiritual movement in my teens, and we called it tongues, right? It was a different time, and it was in a religious framework. But when I found out that people were talking about light language and what it was, I said, that's the same thing. I always used it for meditation and prayer, chanting, that type of thing. So I said, this is wonderful. So if people have questions about light language, what can you say?
Well, all kinds of things. I think, and when I was getting these messages about that I had to draw light codes, and I was doing that work, and because I am at my core, I am a skeptic, so it's been a real process for me. And I was asking, I mean, a lot of people, because I was connecting to other people through Facebook. There are huge groups on Facebook, people that are channeling or talking about light language, about light codes. And I was asking myself, I mean, there are so many people doing this. How is this an add-on? What is so, important about these light codes? And then Metatron said, I mean, you have 8 billion people living on this earth. And you all have different ways of looking at life. You have different ways of processing. And we need all these different types of people and light codes and languages to be able to reach all of you. So there are going to be a lot more people doing this. Mm-hmm. And when I look at the symbols that people are channeling, I can see a lot of them in the light codes that I have been channeling. So we are definitely tapping into the same consciousness that is speaking through us in whatever media we are using to express it.
And the light language is there for all of us.
Yeah.
I mean, we all understand it. And in Angelic Reiki, when we go through the activations, there is light language activation. It doesn't mean that we need to be speaking or drawing light language. It's there. We both have it. We can speak the light language. It doesn't mean that we need to express it through our mouth.
No,
or in writing or in other way, because we can all speak the whatever language we want with spirit.
Yeah, I mean, light language for me, light language is feeling, and most of us understand feeling, So when if you don't understand the words of the person that is speaking light language, you can feel the feelings that emanate from them, and that's what spirit does. It speaks to us through feelings.
It's all energy.
Yeah, and we have to, I think that is one of the things that is going to change a lot for us in the next decades, is that we are not so hooked on words, because words can be misinterpreted in any language, even if we speak the same language, but you can never misinterpret feelings. Not if we're connected heart to heart, The words can cause a lot of problems all the time.
Especially as we many like to define things a lot.
Put things in boxes, make lists.
We don't like boxes very much.
Oh, I love it.
We're trying to break out of the boxes. That's what we're trying to do.
Yes, yes. The categorization and boxing of ideas and people, I think, has reached its point.
Yeah.
No longer helpful in our society. It has become outdated. I have to agree. And the breath of fresh air is coming in, the spirit, and bringing new life in ways we never imagined.
Mm-hmm. And we celebrate that.
Yes. Definitely.
Yeah, it's something that we have been very conscious about, and especially working because we have here in Iceland, we have a membership, we have, all kinds of customers coming through different workshops, and there's often a lot of categorization, and we don't necessarily want to put everything in boxes. It's a feeling, and that's also how we practice. And one of the things we as you said before, you read a part of a book. We don't really like reading spiritual books because we don't have the attention span to read from page 1 until the end. It simply doesn't work that way. For me, I can open them sometimes and read 1 chapter or 2 pages or something, and that's enough. Then it's something that is calling me, because otherwise I start thinking too much, and we don't want to be constricted by whatever someone else is sensing or writing, because this can also be old stuff. The energy is constantly changing. We can experience things differently today than other people did, even though they are, well known. If they experienced it 20, 30 years ago, the energy was simply different, and we can experience something completely different today. That's why we like to work from within and to practice, you know, this connection with spirit from our heart, so that we can sense, and then you can sense one color of the archangel or the chakra, or, you know, whatever being you are communicating with, like with elementals, because we work a lot with them. It doesn't have to be necessarily defined if it's an elf or a troll or a hidden person, or, you know, whatever else we can come up with. We can start with sensing the energy, communicating with the being, and then we can get our own information.
So tell me more about elementals and the work you do with them.
That's more of like our community work, I would say. We have one of the callings that we've had is to go around, both around Iceland, and whenever we are traveling, we do this as well. And we summon, we have a team of light beings that are with us, and then we summon the elementals in each place as well. And we open up light portals that clear old stagnant energy from the Earth's core and all the way as far up as we can through many dimensions. And that is helping the world, I would say the Earth ascend, and all the people that are close to the light portals that we are creating or opening up. So we have a very strong calling to do this, and we have opened up 70 or 80 portals in 6, 7, 8 countries. I can't remember exactly, but whenever we go somewhere, we open up a portal.
Wherever we feel called to do that, because it's, I mean, as we say, it's what we consider a community service, because there is everywhere this energy that humans have left behind in Mother Earth. And for us to really heal, we need to release this energy, we need to clear it, so that we who are walking the earth now, we can be free from that at least. Because often we like to hang on to this energy or being in strong connection with it. And it's something we need to shift. Yeah. We have to shift. And a part of that is working with the elementals, because they are in different dimensions. And they are also part of this clearing, because our energy, the human energy, can impact them. Mm-hmm. And they can also have things that they want to release, because they're going through this ascension process as well.
There's also, if we just look at our local environment, there is so much wisdom we can get from the elementals. For example, I learned how to work with wild herbs and make potions and creams. I was taught by a fairy to do that. And there is so much wisdom that we can tap into. And they have so much to share with us. And they are so willing to work with us, as long as we are willing to work from pure love, and to work in the benefit, looking at the, you know, that it benefits everybody, not just humans. Mm-hmm. And I mean, we have been a part of a group here in Iceland that is kind of like a negotiation committee. That sometimes, if we know that there's going to be a big construction, like a tunnel through a mountain or whatever, we are called, not always us, but this group of people, whoever who can go and to speak with the elementals, connect with them, let them know what's happening, and so they can prepare and do whatever what is necessary for them to be able to live with that.
And sometimes, you know, things like rocks need to be moved, or, you know, so that they can keep their,
and sometimes just the road,
place of living.
The road needs to be moved just 5 meters to the right, and then everything will be fine. Mm-hmm. You know, and I think that's becoming more and more common here in Iceland now, that the road developers are aware. They think it's both. I think most of them think it's, you know, bullocks, but they still speak to us because they feel like, I think they are inside. They are like, oh, we better be safe. It's better be safe than sorry. You know.
But connecting with the elements also, because we do that, of course, out in nature.
Yeah,
it's getting us closer to nature, and also just sensing how they work with nature. We can learn so much from that. and how they, for example, work with the trees, or we can call in the fairies to work with the plants, and so on. So this can be, good cooperation, so that, we can help with their energy, they can help with the energy of the plants, they can help with our energy. It's all this big circle of energy that's flowing, and it becomes so much better, and so much stronger connection when we are, opening up to these energies around us.
The superpower of co-creation.
And with the energies, we feel better. It's a very
Yes, definitely.
simple result, but we feel better and we're clearer. We don't just feel euphoric and high and muddled, but we feel clearer and think more clearly. So there's definitely got to be something good about it, right? And
and it's just being grounded, I think, as well. It's just being grounded and connected to Mother Earth. I think that's
more conscious about our environment, because we're not alone, and it's not just not just nature, not just rocks or trees. And just, for me, at some point in my life, I really felt the need to connect with trolls, because I could go and I could just, cuddle with a troll. Can you imagine how grounding and safe I was feeling? That's just amazing.
That is amazing. Well, you have a free gift. Do you want to talk about it? Because it ties in with Mother Nature or Mother Earth.
Yeah. Because we find it really, really important. Number one thing is to ground ourselves, because we have to be connected to Mother Earth. That's essential in our daily life, and just to, to keep balanced throughout life. It's something we have to do. So connecting with the Mother Earth crystal is a grounding meditation, but it's also about receiving the gifts from Mother Earth, connecting with her energy and being able to fill up on the energy that Mother Earth is sending us each and every day. So it's an amazing meditation to do in the morning or whenever you need it, and when you need to feel this energy from Mother Earth, and it reminds us that we need to be grounded.
Okay, so this is your free gift, and the link will be below this video. Well, is there anything else that you want to express or tell us before we wrap up?
I would just say we all need to be mindful of our superpower, and that we are creating every single day. And we can create bad things as well as good things. So we have to concentrate on all the good that we want to get into our lives, and concentrate less on what we want to get out of our lives. So put our creative force where it will really, really benefit us.
Create this journey we're on. When you create from the heart, then it will be, you're sharing it with others, and you're doing the best you can for yourself.
And take responsibility for yourself. It doesn't help us anymore to point fingers and say you did this or you did that. We take the responsibility, and we choose for ourselves and create our reality from there. I think that's exactly very, very wise.
Very wise creatures.
So wise.
Wise beings.
You are so lucky to have been able to share this moment with us.
Thank you so much.
One thing we realized after we stopped being project managers in the corporate world is that, life is about so much more, and we need to have fun as well. So we don't want to be serious all the time. It's just, we can be silly and we make mistakes, but we can't just pat ourselves on the back and laugh at us and continue. Yeah. It's all part of the process.
I agree with you there. I think that's very wise once again. So I'm going to let you go. I know that you have things to do, and the day, I hope it's a beautiful one for you the rest of the afternoon. I thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
It was a wonderful discussion, and we'll have to do this again.
Oh, I hope so.
Definitely.
And thank you so much for hosting this
Yes.
amazing conference.
Well,
We look
you're
forward to
welcome.
listening to all the
All
the
the
other guests as well.
interviews. Yes, this
Yeah.
oh, it's amazing to talk to all these different people, and everyone has something different to give.
Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so
Take care.
much.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.